You are walking home. It's been 3 weeks since the grid went down. The streetlights are dead, the cameras are blind, and the only law left is physics. You hear footsteps behind you, fast, heavy. You turn around and see someone twice your size, and they aren't looking for a donation. You check your pockets, empty, no knife, no pepper spray, no gun. You are completely unarmed. Most people think this is the moment they die. They think because they don't have a weapon, they are helpless. They are wrong. You don't need a weapon because you are fighting a biological machine, and machines have off switches. Today we are going to learn how to dismantle a human attacker using nothing but biomechanics, gravity, and the terrifying fragility of the human body. Let's get the bad news out of the way first. If you try to fight like you're in a movie, you will lose. If you try to box, grapple, or use that karate move you learned in the 3rd grade, you will lose. In a survival situation, your body dumps adrenaline into your bloodstream. This is great for running away, but it is terrible for fine motor skills. Your hands turn into flippers, your vision tunnels, your complex thinking shuts down. Complexity is the enemy. In a collapse scenario, there are no referees, no bells, and no points for style. There is only escaping or staying on the pavement permanently. The only way to survive an unarmed encounter is to stop thinking about fighting and start thinking about breaking structure. The human body is an engineering disaster. We are tall, unstable towers of water and calcium held together by tension. We have vital organs protected by less than an inch of skin. We have joints that only bend one way. To defend yourself, you don't need to be stronger than the attacker. You just need to apply physics to their design flaws. Let's talk about the hardware you were born with. You have elbows, knees, and a skull. These are your hammers. Your attacker has eyes, a throat, and knees. These are the targets. This is not a duel, this is demolition. The first concept you need to understand is the action-reaction gap. It takes the human brain about 1/4 of a second to process an image and send a signal to the muscles. That sounds fast, but in a fight it is an eternity. If you wait for them to grab you, you are already behind the curve. You need to hack their OODA loop, observe, orient, decide, act. You do this by overloading their sensory input. If they step toward you, do not step back. Stepping back triggers a predator chase instinct. Instead, you disrupt the pattern. You yell, you throw your keys, you spit. You do anything that forces their brain to pause and ask what is happening. In that split second of confusion, you launch your counter measures. Let's look at the targets. The holy trinity of survival self-defense consists of the eyes, the throat, and the groin. These are the areas that cannot be conditioned. You can build big muscles, you can have rock-hard abs, but you cannot do push-ups with your eyeballs. A poke to the eye requires less than 2 pounds of pressure to cause blinding pain and a total system reset. It triggers the watering reflex, blinding them temporarily. That is your exit ticket. Do not punch the face. The skull is hard. Your hand is made of small, fragile bones. If you punch a skull, you break your hand. Now you are injured and still fighting a giant. Use your fingers like a whip or a rake across the eyes. It's nasty, it's brutal, and it works. Next is the throat. The trachea is a soft cartilage tube exposed right in the front of the neck. It is the air intake for the engine. If you crush the intake, the engine stops. A strike to the throat induces immediate panic. It is a primal fear. No one keeps fighting when they can't breathe. Use the web of your hand, the space between your thumb and index finger, and drive it upward into the Adam's apple. This isn't a magical death touch, it's just collapsing a soft tube. It causes gagging, watering eyes, and a desperate need to retreat. It buys you time, and in survival, time is the only currency that matters. Let's talk about the knees. The human knee is a hinge joint designed to take weight vertically, not horizontally. It is held together by ligaments that are surprisingly easy to tear. If your attacker is rushing you, their weight is committed to their front leg. That leg is a pillar. If you kick the side of that knee or stomp on the front of it, you aren't fighting their muscles. You are fighting the tensile strength of a tiny ligament. It takes about 40 pounds of pressure to dislocate a knee. If the leg is planted, that is less force than it takes to kick a soccer ball. Once the knee is gone, the fight is over. They cannot chase you. They are structurally compromised. You walk away. But what if they grab you? This is where most people panic. They try to pull away. This is a mistake. If a larger person grabs your wrist or your jacket and you pull away, you are engaging in a contest of strength. You will lose that contest. Instead, use the principle of leverage. The thumb is the weak link in any grip. No matter how strong the attacker is, their thumb is just one digit. If they grab your wrist, do not pull back, rotate your arm toward their thumb. The anatomy of the hand forces the grip. To break it is mechanics, not magic. Let's discuss the environment. You are never actually unarmed. The world is full of weapons if you stop looking for knives and start looking for physics. A wall is a weapon. If you are shoved, do not just absorb the force, redirect them into the wall. The pavement is the hardest weapon in the world, and gravity is free energy. If you can off-balance someone and let them fall, the planet hits them with the force of their own body weight. A handful of dirt thrown in the face is a blinding agent. A flashlight beam in the eyes at night destroys night vision for 30 seconds. A pen, a magazine rolled up tight, or even a credit card can be used to create focused pressure points. You are only unarmed if you lack imagination. Psychology is your first layer of armor. Most violence follows a script. The attacker postures, they threaten. They want compliance or fear. If you show them something else, the script breaks. There is a concept called acting crazy. Predators look for victims, not challenges. If you start screaming nonsense, twitching, or acting aggressively unstable, the predator does a risk assessment. They want a wallet, not a mental health crisis. You become a high-cost target. Sometimes the best defense is making them decide you aren't worth the trouble. However, if violence is inevitable, you must commit 100%. This is the hardest part for civilized people. We are socialized to be nice, to follow rules, to use appropriate force. In a collapse scenario, appropriate gets you killed. You cannot hesitate. If you decide to strike, you must strike with the intent to go through the target. You do not hit at the face, you hit through the back of the head. You do not tap the knee, you try to stomp it into the ground. Violence in survival is a switch. You flip it on, you do maximum damage in minimum time. And then you flip it off and run. Hesitation is a gap where you get hurt. Let's break down the flinch. When someone throws a punch at you, you will flinch. It is wired into your DNA. You will throw your hands up and close your eyes. Don't fight this instinct. Weaponize it. This is called the spear tactic. When you flinch, drive forward, turn your forearms into a wedge, and launch your body weight into their chest. You are protecting your head while simultaneously slamming into their center of gravity. Most attackers expect you to retreat by driving forward into their space. You jam their attack. They can't generate power. If you are standing on their toes, you turn their aggression into a collision they weren't ready for. There is a myth that you need to go to the ground, take the fight to the ground. The Jitsu guys say, in a controlled environment, yes. In a survival scenario, the ground is lava. The ground is where you get stomped by his friends. The ground is where you roll onto broken glass or rusty needles. The ground is where mobility dies. Your priority is to stay on your feet at all costs. If you fall, you are not fighting to submit him. You are fighting to stand up, kick the knees, kick the groin, scramble like a rat. Do not try to put him in an armbar, just get up. Let's talk about endurance. Real fights are anaerobic bursts. They last seconds, not minutes. If a fight goes longer than 10 seconds, you are both doing it wrong, and the risk of injury skyrockets. You will be exhausted in 30 seconds. The adrenaline dump burns your energy reserves instantly. This is why running away is a legitimate martial art. Cardio is the best self-defense technique in history. If you can run a 6-minute mile and they can't, you are invincible. Creating distance is always superior to creating damage. Damage is a legal liability and a medical risk. Distance is safety. But sometimes you can't run. You are cornered. Your family is behind you now. You have to become the predator. This requires a mental shift. You are no longer the victim. You are a cornered animal. You must explode. Use your elbows. The elbow is the hardest bone in the upper body. It cuts skin like a razor. At close range, it is devastating. Horizontal elbows, vertical elbows, dropping elbows. It requires zero training to just smash that hard bone into soft targets. Use your head. Literally, a headbutt is dangerous if done wrong, but if you grab their shirt and drive the top of your skull into their nose, you are using the thickest part of your skull against the most sensitive part of their face. It's ugly, it's messy, it works. Survival defense is also about deception. Feigning surrender is a valid tactic. Put your hands up. Whoa, take it easy, man. This defensive posture, hands up, palms out, is actually a fighting stance. Your hands are already up to protect your face. Your palms are open to strike. You look submissive, but you are loaded like a spring. When they lower their guard to take your wallet, you are already in position to strike the throat or the eyes. Deception buys you the first hit, and statistically the person who lands the first clean hit usually wins the encounter. Let's talk about the freeze. When violence happens, most people freeze, their brain locks up. This is because they have no mental map for the situation. The way to break the freeze is visualization. You need to visualize these scenarios before they happen. Sit in your chair and imagine a man grabbing your throat. What do? Rotate the shoulder, strike the groin, run. If you have run the simulation in your head 100 times, your brain won't freeze when it happens for real. It will recognize the pattern and execute the program. You are programming your own survival instincts. Finally, understand the cost of violence. Even if you win, you lose. You might break your hand, you might get cut. In a world without antibiotics, a cut on your knuckle from punching someone in the teeth can get infected and kill you 2 weeks later. This is why avoidance is the highest form of mastery. Awareness is your radar. If you see a threat, cross the street. If you hear shouting, go the other way. If your gut tells you something is wrong, listen to it. Your intuition is millions of years of evolution warning you about a predator. Don't suppress it just to be polite. Politeness is a social construct. Survival is a biological imperative. You are not training to be a cage fighter. You are training to be a disaster survivor. The goal is not a knockout. The goal is disruption. Disrupt their balance, disrupt their breathing, disrupt their vision. You are a chaotic element introducing entropy into their system. You are looking for the exit sign, not a trophy. Defend the centerline, protect the head, stay off the ground, use the environment. And when the moment comes, do not hesitate, be fast, be brutal, and be gone, because in a blackout the only winner is the one who makes it home.